Hi there! Today we're going to learn about two types of assessment, the informal assessment and the formal assessment.
Informal assessment. What is an informal assessment? Well, informal assessment is a way of collecting information about our students' performance in a normal classroom condition. However, this doesn't require a formal test, but rather a continuous assessment which is done over a period of time, like in a term or in an academic year. When we are in the classroom with our students, we are constantly assessing their performance when speaking, writing, listening, and reading. We can identify which students are performing well and which ones are having difficulties. To carry out effective informal assessment, we need to identify what we are going to assess, establish clear criteria for assessing, and finally, link the informal assessment with our formal assessment, which in this case would be the formal test.
How to assess the skills? Speaking. This is done by observing students' oral performance in class, for example. When students are working in groups, walk around the class while monitoring their work. There, you will get an idea and compare how developed this skill is in your students. Writing. This is done by revising students' pieces of work. For example, the teacher needs to choose the most important pieces of writing. How? By selecting what she or he is going to assess. In other words, the points that she or he is going to be paying attention to. It is necessary to give feedback after checking the student's work. Moreover, teachers should try to use correction codes, for example, a P for punctuation or a WO for word ordered. Listening. This is done by checking the students' answers. For example, after listening to a recording, the teacher should elicit scores by checking one by one. Otherwise, she or he will not be aware of the student's learning. However, the teacher can also ask questions to the class as a whole in relation to particular questions. Reading. This can be done by making students read real-world readings. For example, students can read an email and then respond it back, in order to the teacher check if the students understood what the email said. Grammar and vocabulary. This can be done by the teacher going around the classroom, paying attention and taking notes of the common mistakes students are making, in order to work with them later on. Another example is making class quizzes and giving to students extra points or prizes.
Formal assessment. Why should we apply tests? Well, some of the reasons for testing are that we may need to find out how much a student is progressing during the course and identifying problem areas before the course ends. Compare students' performance with other students, and finally, it helps to know how much a student learned during the academic year.
There are different types of tests with their own purposes. Progress tests. These tests may be applied after a number of units, at the end of each week or each term. This test aims to identify how well the course or contents are going. Summative tests. They are applied at the end of courses, and their objective is to see if students have achieved their objectives set on the syllabus. These type of tests are commonly used in our educational system and are meant to make students pass or fail. Entry or placement tests. These tests indicate at which level a learner will learn. These aim to produce homogeneous groups where the learning levels are equivalent, for example, the Cambridge or Oxford. Diagnostic tests. These tests are meant to diagnose, in other words, to find out problems areas, if any. These type of tests are based on failure. It is common to apply this test at the beginning of a course in order to see where students are and where they are lack of. The results help teachers to prepare and plan the course. Proficiency tests. This type of tests aim to describe what students are capable of doing in a foreign language. They measure the overall level of students and most of the time they are international.